SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man, way past 21. I want you to believe me, baby.
Hello, good morning, and welcome. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Thanks for joining us, for starting your day with us as you roll out just after 6 o'clock on this Wednesday morning, middle of the week, April the 15th, formerly known as Tax Day. Formerly, because we got a break yesterday. IRS said, hey, if you were affected, that's the word I was looking for, if you were affected by the winter storm, we'll give you some more time. You've got until June 8th to file your taxes with no penalties and the interest meter not running. So, congratulations if you thought you had to get your extension filed today because you were not ready to file your actual taxes. You got a little more time. So, good luck with that. I'll give you all the details coming up in a bit. Mornings is presented by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net. Community Bank, rooted in our community. I'm Richard Cross. He is Lance Tolbert. Lance, good morning, sir.
Good morning, RC. Another beautiful day in the neighborhood.
That's right.
Yes, sir. And like you said, get a little relief there. You don't have to scurry around and file your extension today. You can just kind of putt. You don't have to do anything.
I bet you've already filed your taxes.
Yeah. No, not at all.
No?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Today was the day, so I'm going to extend it.
So, well, now you don't have to.
So
You don't even have to file the extension
I
now.
love waiting to the last minute,
Yeah.
It feels so good.
Do you do them yourself?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, here and there. It just depends.
Yeah.
Mine's pretty simple. It used to be a lot more complex, and you get paid 3 or 4 different ways. Now it's just straight up. They get a paycheck, and they've already withheld a good bit, so hopefully you get a return.
That's
instead
right.
of owing them money.
Hopefully you get some back instead of having to send a check to go with it.
Let's hope.
Some years it works that way, and some years it doesn't. So, I read some stories. There's some people that are saying that their average tax return is actually higher this year than it has been in years past with some of the new tax cuts that have gone into place or tax extensions that have gone into place. We'll see. As Lance said just a moment ago, it does appear that it is going to be another nice day across the state of Mississippi. 85 degrees for your high today in Tupelo. 64 for the overnight low. May have some clouds, but mostly sunny with a very low chance of rain today. Breezy out of the south and southwest. Going to be a warm and pleasant, typical day for mid-April. Maybe a little warmer than sometimes, but not too bad in the birthplace of Elvis Presley, of course. Canton. On the lovely Canton Square, it's going to be 85 degrees today. 63 degrees tonight for your overnight low. Winds breezy out of the south. Hattiesburg, you're going to be about 83, maybe 84 today. Lows overnight around 64, partly to mostly cloudy. Might have a small chance of showers for you, but likely going to be dry. Breezy out of the south. Going to feel a little humid in Hattiesburg. Gulfport. Oh, what a day for you. 80 degrees for your high. Get that breeze along the coast, and it might be just a touch cooler than that. Overnight, you're going to be in the mid to upper 60s. Maybe a little bit of morning fog or just a little bit of mist that's going to be cleared out by the sun. Rain chance, almost nothing. Great day if you're headed out to the preserve. If you're headed out to Fallen Oak. Maybe you're headed out to one of the barrier islands to fish a little bit.
There you go.
Good day for it. Good day for it. Lance.
Yes, sir.
last night, saw about the coolest thing ever. So we ran over to my in-laws' house last night. I took Obi over, and Jane brought our youngest daughter over, just visited with them for a few minutes. And I told Obi, I said, hey, didn't you say you wanted to fish? They've got a lake in their backyard, or big pond, or however you want to describe it. So we're out there, and everybody ends up coming outside. It's just a lovely evening. You got no bugs. You know, it's just pleasant, not even thinking about sweating last night. We're just kind of standing around talking and halfway fishing. And you got a mama duck out there with her little ducklings. You know how they just kind of putt around out in the water?
They trail around behind them.
Yeah. We look up, and somebody goes, is that a bald eagle? I was like, that is very much a bald eagle. So first of all, that's the first cool part. There's a bald eagle flying right outside their back porch out across the water. Mm-hmm. Low, too. Not fully grown. It's a young bald eagle. And then somebody goes, oh, he's looking for supper.
I was going to say, he's ready to eat.
He was looking for the ducklings.
Oh, wow.
And so he comes high and then sweeps down and is headed for where they are. And Frances, my youngest, goes, no, Daddy, no. She's so upset about it. Well, Mama Duck went into Mama Duck mode. And she is squawking and making noise. And when that duck swoops down, she and those ducklings go underwater.
Oh, yeah. It's a sight to see.
They go under.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Every one of them. And he misses. And he, banks out and comes back. He does that 2 or 3 times and he leaves. Frustrated. Either that or he got something and was taking it back to the nest and I didn't see it, but I think he left frustrated.
Yeah, he's like 0 for 3.
So a couple of minutes later, here he comes again. And then the coolest thing happened. I absolutely have never seen this. So he is swooping in and out, and I look to my right and I hear, here come 2 geese. Lance, they are on a mission. They are side by side.
Running in formation.
Just 2 of them, and they are 3 feet above the water. And they are on a beeline for that eagle. They are coming to the rescue. And that eagle is on his swoop down, and it's like they're playing a game of chicken.
Yeah.
And that eagle ended up swooping under the geese and then bailing out.
Man.
And the geese go just past where the mama duck and the ducklings are, and they turn around on a dime, and they sit right there on the water as if they are the protectors.
The protectorate, right. I mean, that's the Republican Guard.
I mean, did you know geese and ducks are such good friends?
I had no idea. No, and I'm around them a lot, but not together. Usually the geese are over in the fields and pecking around doing their thing, and you hear them honk, honk, and honk. But man, that's really cool, though, to see in nature, watching nature work while you get this opportunity to sit back and.
I mean, friends going, no, don't eat them. And I'm like, hey, it's the circle of life. And then I'm like, whoo, here comes the revolutionary. Oh, wait, no, that'd be the bad guys. Here come the Blue Angels.
Yeah,
here come the Thunderbirds.
I'm going to have to talk to Birdman, Ken Hackman, about that because that's a new one for me.
I'm
the
telling
geese
you,
coming in to protect the ducks.
I'm telling you.
I love it, though.
I'm not making it up. I put it on X last night. There's just a little short video of it.
I'm going to have to dig it out then, man.
Jeff says, amazing. Man, that's a good evening. I'm telling you, it was really in fact, I immediately said, I can't wait to talk about this in the morning. There are people that are going to love it.
What about the fishing?
We caught 3 little ones.
Yeah, okay.
We were out there 20 minutes. Obi caught a little bitty crappie, and then I got a smallmouth, like a smallmouth bass that Franny reeled in, and then Obi caught another little decent-sized smallmouth bass. It's fun.
Nice evening.
Mm-hmm. Somebody said it feels like Nat Geo. Animal noises are on point this morning. Man, who was born on this day? This artist named Leonardo da Vinci, the Italian Renaissance polymath painter, the Mona Lisa, the Last Supper. He was an inventor and a scientist. Full-on Renaissance man, that Leo da Vinci.
Better known for science or art?
Today, art. Maybe then science. I think.
The thing that gets me about Mona Lisa is she just looks like she's not in a good mood. Yeah, not in a good mood, But it made it so far in history with being such a famous painting that you got to sit back and appreciate it, right? Everybody likes it.
I guess let me paint this unattractive woman.
So whose wife was that, and how much did he pay you to do that?
Emma Watson, the British actress known as Hermione Granger. Hermione, is that right?
I think so.
Hermine? Harry Potter? I'm not a Harry Potter guy.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen. Knocked up, super bad. Pineapple Express. He is 44 today. Sing to me, Chris Stapleton.
Yeah.
I love you, my man. Even though I think you're the person that my wife would leave me for, still love you. He's so good, Chris Stapleton. Oh, so good. Tell you some things that happened. Man, there's some cool stuff that happened on this day in history. We get that for you next. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
Your next customer is...
Wake up, get up, and start your day right with Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Good to be with you this morning. It is Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and Supertalk TV. The C Spire text line is open to you, 601-879-4395. Right now at C Spire, new and current customers can get a free phone, watch, and tablet plus 100 gigs of data for just $90. There's more to see. Visit cspire.com today. Amanda in Pike County checks in this morning. A little disappointed in the Mona Lisa, much smaller than you would think. It's famous because it's one of the first paintings of a person smiling, if you can call it a smile.
Yeah, that's a rough smile there.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of sense of humor they had back then, if that's a smile.
Yeah.
Not a lot of jokes, probably.
This is like a Grok or Chat GPT message or something. I don't know that I'm going to read all of it unless you typed all of that, in which case,
wow,
impressive. Whether geese are protective of ducks usually depends on the specific social environment and whether they were raised together. While they are different species, they can form very strong bonds under the right circumstances. Okay.
Well, they came in for the rescue. That was a save right there on the video. And I'm going to give you some props on your video quality there, dog. That's nice stuff.
That's my wife.
Okay. So she did a great job.
Yeah. Thanks. I'll pass that along.
Yeah.
Chris Stapleton is coming to Gaucher this year, the amphitheater there. And top of the morning to you. Glad you got to experience that with the geese and the ducks. Nature is truly a wonder. That's from Nathan. Yeah, man, it is. It is. And you know how you experience it? Got to get out in it. Just get outside. Lance sees cool stuff outside all the time.
I love it, man. I don't want to be inside if I don't have to be.
April 15th, 1927. A massive storm dumped up to 15 inches of rain in just 18 hours across parts of the Mississippi Delta and the Gulf Coast region. This deluge, falling on already saturated ground from months of heavy rain, accelerated the catastrophic Great Mississippi Flood, one of the worst natural disasters, not just in Mississippi history, but in United States history. The flood eventually inundated over 27,000 square miles across multiple states, displaced hundreds of thousands of people, many in the Mississippi Delta, caused hundreds of deaths, and led to a major social and economic set of changes. Included accelerated migration of African Americans out of the South. The Mounds Landing levee break in Mississippi followed shortly thereafter. Where is the Mounds Landing levee?
I'm not sure about that, but if you put that into perspective, what was it? The 2019 flood, this one covered 27,000 square miles across multiple states. The 2019 flood that was so terrible here, think about this, it covered 500,000 acres basically in the backwater of the Delta. So, I mean, 25,000 square miles. And I remember how terrible the 2019 one was. I can't imagine what 27,000 square miles looks like. Ooh, man.
On April 15th, 1974, heavy rains began falling across southeast Mississippi during the April 12th through the 16th period, leading to severe flooding along the Pearl and Leaf Rivers in Hattiesburg and surrounding areas. This caused widespread damage. Bridges washed out, roads destroyed. About 6 square miles of the city were flooded. Roughly 6,000 people had to be evacuated in Forest County alone. Total damage in the region exceeded $9 million in 1974 dollars, with 8 deaths reported across the affected basins. Notable flood in southeast Mississippi. And then, not too terribly long ago, 15 years ago, I bet you remember this one. As part of a larger, April 15th, 2011, as part of a larger multi-day severe weather outbreak, 73 tornadoes touched down on April 15th alone across the South, many of them affecting Mississippi. There was an EF3 tornado near Leakesville in Greene County, just south of Hattiesburg. Destroyed dozens of homes and businesses, caused 1 fatality, resulted in millions in damage. That 2011 outbreak was one of the most significant tornado events in modern Mississippi weather history. That was that the same? That was the same tornado for Tuscaloosa, wasn't it? No. That was 2 weeks later.
I thought that was, a separate event, but in the same
April
year.
27th. Yeah, that's right. I knew it was the year. I wasn't sure on the date. All right, some other things that have happened on this day in history. In 1865, President Abraham Lincoln died at 7:22 in the morning after a gunshot wound inflicted the previous evening by John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theater in D.C. Vice President Andrew Johnson was sworn in just hours later. The RMS Titanic officially sunk on this day, April 15th, 1912, at approximately 2:20 a.m. In 1947, Jackie Robinson debuted for the Brooklyn Dodgers, becoming the first African-American player in Major League Baseball in the modern era and breaking the sport's long-standing color line. It was today, April 15th, 2013. Do you remember where you were? 2 homemade bombs detonated near the finish line of the Boston Marathon, killing 3 people and injuring more than 260 others in a terrorist attack. They found that little punk in a boat in somebody's backyard. 2019. 7 years ago today, a major fire broke out at the historic Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris during restoration work, destroying much of the roof, the 19th century spire, and some vaulting. Now, it took a while, but they have completed the renovation now, and it is beautiful. You ever been to Notre Dame?
I have not. I know it's a beautiful cathedral. Took forever to build. And then when you have a fire like that, man, I mean, just so destructive, but happy that it's been restored to its grandeur as it deserves to be. What a beautiful place. Never been to Europe, though, so,
Yeah. Went a long time ago.
Yeah, it's the place I'd like to see. Kind of one of those, like to check out a handful of spots there.
Yeah. Florence is my favorite.
I always heard it, Italy would, that's kind of the spot I'd probably want to start.
Florence is really, really cool.
I'm not sure I'd want to go to England right now, personally.
Yeah, never been. If I made it to the UK, just get me to Scotland or Ireland.
Yeah, I'd get all the way up there to the golf.
I'd check your castles out, whatever, but
get me one of those real thick sweaters.
We're not really going there for the food.
You want some haggis?
I'll pass.
Real men eat haggis, man. Come on.
Students in Beijing began pro-democracy demonstrations on Tiananmen Square following the death of reformer Hu Yaobang. The protests grew significantly in the following weeks. Tim Walls was there to tell us all about it.
He videoed it, right? And gave a lecture.
And General Electric was formed as a company on this day. The merger of Edison General Electric and Thomson Houston Electric Company, GE, became a powerhouse of a company on this day in 1892. All right, got some news headlines for you. Mississippians impacted by Winter Storm Fern will have extra time to file their federal taxes, according to a Tuesday announcement from the IRS. Said in a news release that individuals and businesses impacted by the January storm, considered to be the state's worst winter weather event in more than 3 decades, now have until June 8th to file returns and make payments originally due between January 23rd and June 8th. The standard deadline for taxpayers to file each year is April 15th. The extended deadline applies to a wide range of filings, including individual income tax returns, quarterly payroll tax returns, and certain business filings. Taxpayers will not face penalties as long as payments are made by the June 8th deadline. In addition, penalties for payroll and excise tax deposits between the 23rd and February 9th will be waived if those payments were made by February 9th. No extension has been announced by the Mississippi Department of Revenue unless it happened last night or this morning. I guess we could go to the DOR's website. We would know if that was the case. But so the Fed said it's okay to take your time, but right here in Mississippi, nope, you doggone better pay what you need to pay by the time you need to do it, which is today. Let's see here. I do not see that as a news headline on the Mississippi DOR website. So, yes, today is still your deadline. More news coming up and your sports update right after this. Mornings of Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Good morning to you, friends.
Say careless how I feel, but how many of you that's sitting just for me ever walk the streets of Bakersfield?
From the Seabrook.com.
You're waking up to what's happening. Mornings with Richard Cross. Right now on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Hey, I don't remember. I've got I still have the DOR website for Mississippi pulled up. And was the state just able to seize the WorldCom building, or do we have to buy it?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, you want to talk about a palatial state agency headquarters. That is it. Maybe we had to buy it.
It says gets new tenant. That was a while back, though. Let's see.
Yeah. A couple of other news headlines for you this morning. An alleged child predator out of New York has been arrested after a Mississippi citizen submitted a tip nearly 4 months ago. The George County Sheriff's Office said in its investigation into the tip, determined that the child and the suspect initially developed contact through a popular online gaming platform, which later progressed to the exchange of phone numbers. The alleged predator, identified as a 30-year-old male, Dylan Taylor of Glen Falls, New York. He is accused of receiving sexual images from the child. Through a coordinated effort between law enforcement in George County and Glen Falls, along with the Department of Homeland Security, authorities were able to secure a search warrant for Taylor's home and electronic devices. He was arrested and charged with 1 count of receiving child pornography. He is currently in federal custody as the investigation remains active. Should just release him to us. I understand that what happened there is not as bad as it could have been. Not as bad as perhaps where it was headed. But you know how you keep that guy from ever doing that again? Just cut it off with a rusty blade.
Ooh.
Mississippi lawmakers are scheduled to return to the Capitol today, with both the House and Senate said to be gaveling in at 1 o'clock. I mean, a 30-year-old grown man manipulating a child that he met online through a video game and then changing phone numbers, texting back and forth, and convincing a kid to send him nudie pics? Cut it off with a rusty blade. Just cut it off. You don't have to put him in jail. You don't have to clog up the legal system. An agreement which was reached in late March to extend the 26th regular session on paper to April 15th, nearly 2 weeks after the initial date. The initial sine-die date, which was set for Sunday, April 5th. Lawmakers went home, and I don't care if it gets an infection after the fact. Lawmakers went home on Friday, April 3rd, with the understanding that they would return by April 15th unless both the lieutenant governor and the speaker agreed not to reconvene. As for what is on the agenda, that is a great question. This is not a special session. This is a return to finish the work. Could take up the vetoes offered by Tate Reeves, some of which were handed down yesterday, or Monday, rather. There were some line item vetoes in the final spending bill. Perhaps working on a compromise on pharmacy benefit manager reform? Maybe. We'll wait and see. C-Spire text line 601-879-4395. I don't know that I probably should read most of these.
Yeah, what about
it is my
island?
fault that some of you sent what you sent.
You get riled up this morning. But hey, I mean, seriously, you think about, like, you sent Napoleon to like one island. Why don't you just round all this stuff up and send them off to an island and let them hang out together? Yeah. Kind of like a Escape from L.A. or something. Just put all the crazies in one place and let them fight it out.
We're just going to put you all out there and turn you loose. And
how you like that?
Yeah.
I mean, because, to me, putting the bullet to the head, all that stuff, that's a little bit too it's too easy.
Yeah, well, and I mean, that's not exactly while I don't think I could be mad at you, really mad at you for that, I think that is not necessarily punishment that fits the crime. Now, if the crime had gone beyond what happened here, see, I just think it's disgusting and sick, and you can put a stop to it moving forward. Just catching this guy doing the text message thing and he's got some kiddie porn on his phone, I don't think that stops him from doing it again. I don't think. It scares him in real time, but what happens once he gets out of whatever punishment he gets for it? What does he do? He goes right back online and does it again.
He probably made some good connections in jail with others just like him.
Possibly. But if you get the rusty blade and you just end it right there, I don't think you got any issues anymore. But Lance, I don't disagree with you. Like, if you get called up for a child-related sex charge, you go to the island.
I love Jason.
And let everybody know. Let everybody know the island is where you are going. Yeah. If you get caught for this, it's your choice.
I'm in, man. Not that I want to be on the island, but that's the punishment that I would envision.
Yeah.
For such perps. And Jason, talking about the island, he goes, Australia.
Wow.
That's been a while, but yeah, it was colonized by convicts.
Yeah. I thought you were just saying Australia's gone so off the rails. Send them there.
Well, no, yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah. 14-year-old is accused of shooting an 8-year-old in Warren County. This is so sad. Local law enforcement said gunfire rang out on Abraham Drive just before 4 p.m. on Monday afternoon. The unidentified teenager was taken into custody for allegedly shooting the female child. Police say they recovered a weapon believed to have been used in the shooting at the scene. The victim transported to UMMC. Condition has not yet been made public. No motive at this time. Suspect's charges have not been announced either. God, let that girl be okay. All right, it is time for your Mississippi sports update. Your sports update brought to you by Pearl River Resort, online at pearlriverresort.com. Pearl River Resort is the home of the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. Two 18-hole championship courses, the Oaks and the Azalea, and they are ready for you. This is the perfect time of the year to be out and about at Dancing Rabbit. Book your tee time at dancingrabbitgolf.com. Dancing Rabbit, part of Pearl River Resort. If you have been around in athletics in Mississippi for any appreciable period of time, you know the name Chuck Box. Well, Chuck has been a Texan for the last handful of years and is now coming back to the state of Mississippi. Jackson Academy announced earlier this week, I guess Monday, that Columbus native Chuck Box is heading to Mississippi's Cap City to lead the Raiders baseball team and serve as Associate Athletics Director. 25 years of head coaching experience for Chuck Box. He will take over the JA program next season, replacing Justin Reed, who's been the interim coach, after Corey Dickerson left to go be the first base coach for the Tampa Bay Rays. Most recently, Box has been on staff with Jim Schlossnagle at Texas A&M and then at Texas. Made that move to Austin in 2024. Chuck Box, of course, coached for a decade at Jackson Prep, 4 years at Hartfield Academy. Coached some pretty good ones. Guy named Mangum. Did you see the throw he made from left field last night?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, Lance.
Dude can play, can he?
I think the Twitter headline was like Mangum Mania or something like that. You got to see this throw. I mean, it's a BB.
I love a put out from the outfield. I mean, it's one of my favorite plays in baseball.
Couldn't have handed it to the catcher in a better position to drop the tag. Parker Caracci also played for Chuck Box at Prep. For his time there, he had a long run at Freed-Hardeman University, which is his college alma mater. Spent 4 years at ICC, won 148 games there. Baseball dude. Good dude. Been a friend for a really, really long time. I've known Chuck Box for 33 years. Great dude.
Won a lot of games, I know that.
Yeah, he has. He sure has. We'll give you some baseball scores from last night when we come back as well. Got your Mississippi Lottery update coming up. Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net, rooted in our community.
Amy, what you want to do? I think I could stay with you for a while, maybe longer if I do. Now it's come to what you want, you've had.
From the Venable Black. Waking up Mississippi. From South Haven to Scuba, it's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Good to be with you. Today is Wednesday morning, April 15th, 2026. Tax day. Yeah, maybe it'd be a good time to hit the old lottery jackpot.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a tax bill due. Well, I'm a winner, so here we go. No jackpot winner on Monday night for the Powerball. Tonight's drawing up to $58 million with an estimated cash value of $26.4 million. There was no jackpot winner last night for Mega Millions. So it's up to $130 million for Friday night's drawing with a $58 million estimated cash value there. In the Three Stooges promotion, a player from Jasper, Alabama scored $10,000. Player in Jackson picked up $5,000 with more winners in Ocean Springs and Newton. And in Millionaire Maker, a Meridian player grabbed the $15,000 top prize with wins at Aberdeen, Starkville, Saltillo, and Greenwood. There's only one Three Stooges drawing left and two more for Millionaire Maker, so don't toss those non-winning scratch-offs. Enter them now through your Second Chance account at the MississippiLottery.com website or on the official app for a shot at cash prizes. I got to do that. Lance, I stumbled across some scratch-offs that Santa Claus left in stockings that had not been scratched off. I got 3 winners.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I got a $2 win. And I got a $1 win. And then what was this? This was 20 maybe? $20.
Some good winnings there.
There you go, $20. So $23. It's more scratch-offs with that.
That's what you just reinvest the winnings.
Exactly. You know who wants you to do that? The Mississippi Lottery, mslottery.com. Now, I've also got a pile of losers over here in the waste basket, but can I enter all of them into Second Chance? I don't know. Okay. Somebody said pretty sure the Second Chance drawings happen this month. Very good. Baseball scores from last night. Ole Miss and Southern Miss round 2 in Pearl. You remember that the Golden Eagles defeated Ole Miss in Hattiesburg earlier this season. Last night, different story. The Ole Miss team jumped out to a 6-0 lead. Southern Miss got a solo home run. Then the Rebels added 4 in the 6th inning. 10-3 the final. Ole Miss 10 runs, 11 hits, and an error. 3 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error for Southern Miss. A lot of pitchers used in the ballgame last night. J.P. Roberson started for Ole Miss, tied a career high with 5 strikeouts. Landon Koenig got the win, 2 innings with 3 strikeouts. And then a bunch of other guys pitched for Ole Miss, 7 in all. Rebels were led by Tristan Becerra, 4 for 5, 3 runs scored, 2 dribbling in, 2 doubles, and a home run. Will Furness had a bases-clearing double in the 6th inning. He had 4 runs batted in on the night. Southern Miss used 9 pitchers in the ballgame. A lot of dudes.
They do that on the midweek a lot, and it usually works pretty well.
Matthew Russo had a home run last night for Southern Miss, solo home run.
Nice to see Becerra heating back up, man. Dude can crush it.
Mississippi State went to Birmingham. They played Samford last night, and they got the win. Beat them 11-1. Bulldogs headed to Texas this weekend? That's not right, is it?
Hold on a sec, man. Let's get you squared away.
I knew, but I can't remember right off the top of my head.
Well, they have South Carolina on the road.
Carolina, that's
Columbia.
right. At South Carolina this weekend.
Sure.
Yep, that's right. Last night around the SEC baseball scores. Georgia 12-10 over East Tennessee State. Tennessee 11-1 over UNC Asheville. South Carolina by a pair of runs. They beat Davidson. Bethune-Cookman thumped the Florida Gators 13-7. A week ago, they beat LSU in the midweek. Vanderbilt beat Lipscomb 15-1. Arkansas 12-2 over Pine Bluff. Bama 12-6 over UAB. Texas A&M beat Houston 10-2. Auburn 13-0 over Alabama State. Texas beat Corpus Christi 14-7. LSU 4-2 over Northwestern State. And in Bedlam from Tulsa, the Cowboys of Oklahoma State 7-3 over 14th-ranked Oklahoma. All right. That is your morning sports update brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Thanks for being with us. And news is popping this morning. We have much to discuss. We are going to check in with Representative Mr. Chairman Rob Roberson coming up in a bit. Also, Paige Roberts from the Coast going to join us in the 8 o'clock hour.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Want to know what's happening in Mississippi politics?
Yes.
You're in the right place. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Early in one day, a wealthy customer bought the Indian Bay. He took her oh so far away, but Oka liked to stay. Elijah.
Yo! I didn't realize that's what this was. I was like, I don't know if we need this one in the rotation.
Oh, it's Charlie Pride.
Yeah. Elijah!
Our guy Charlie Pride, too, man.
Mm-hmm. The great, the one and only.
Yes, sir.
Have I told you my Charlie Pride story?
No.
Charlie Pride, this was shared to me by a relative, with me by a relative of his. When most people heard Charlie Pride, they only heard him on the radio. They had not seen him.
Yeah.
And he was playing a show at the Orpheum in Memphis. Big crowd. And he walked out on the stage, and the overwhelming majority of the crowd sees him for the very first time. And it's silent. And he walks to the microphone and looks at the crowd, and it could have been really, really awkward. He said, I just got back from the beach, and I've got a really good suntan. We all good? They kind of nod. He starts singing and put on a show.
I bet. That beautiful smile and amazing voice.
We're all good?
I love him, man.
Good. Let's go. Beautiful. I don't know if that's a true story or not, but it was told to me in a way that made me think it was, and I loved it.
Well, in a different era, too, you know?
Yeah.
And what a way to diffuse a potential problem right there.
Oh,
little humor
truth?
usually
Isn't that the truth?
goes a long way.
Got a good suntan going? We all good? All right, let's go. This is Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net. Community Bank, rooted in our community. We're more than just a place to manage your money. We're your neighbors, your partners, and your trusted financial advisors. For years, we've been rooted in our community, helping families, small businesses, and individuals achieve their dreams, whether it's opening your first savings account, planning for a brighter future, or growing your business. We're here every step of the way. Dedicated to our customers, committed to your success, and always here when you need us. Community Bank, rooted in our community. C-Spire text line is open, 601-879-4395, 601-879-4395. My dad lived in Sledge. His grandparents picked cotton with Charlie Pride's parents. Thomas in Greenwood. So tell us about the TPUSA event in Arkansas yesterday. Well, Thomas, why would we need facts to get in the way with a good statement? Wasn't in Arkansas. It's in Georgia. I know, same conference, right? TPUSA event on the Georgia campus last night, not at Stegman Coliseum, not at the football stadium, smaller arena on campus. A scant crowd showed up for that. Erica Kirk canceled at the last moment, citing security threats. There were rumors online said it couldn't be that she was refusing to go speak to a 90% empty auditorium. It was supposed to be a joint appearance with the vice president, J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance did not back out. He still did it, despite the size of the crowd and despite the fact that Erica Kirk backed out. Andrew Colvin, the director down at TPUSA, producer of the radio show, whatever, ran interference for Erica, said she's been through a lot. We take her security very, very seriously. Obviously, she lost her husband less than a year ago. All kinds of criticism has been thrown at Erica Kirk. J.D. Vance, for his part, kind of stood in the gap, and he said, look, there are two things. One, she lost her husband. Two, she's had to deal with the online shaming that has been out there. Grifters who have made copious amounts of money by taking shots at Erica Kirk and speaking of a conspiracy theory and all of these things. Thomas, this is just me. I don't know if I agree with this or not. No. I do agree with it. I'm saying it myself. I don't know that this is accurate. It feels to me like J.D. Vance just did Erica Kirk a solid last night. He's like, I got this. I'll speak to a room of any size. They're all Americans. Almost of a grassroots deal. And the people that did show up, you want to perform for them. But the momentum and the growth of Turning Point USA that was there immediately after the death of Charlie Kirk has been lost almost entirely. He was that dynamic of a leader, and they've had infighting, and they've had bows and arrows and sticks and stones and swords from the outside. And they don't have anybody that can run it the way Charlie did. Charlie was a one of one. They're trying to keep it going. A great turnout in Oxford back in October. But tough deal. For that organization that was building so much, had so much momentum. There was this groundswell of support. It was growing and growing, and there was nobody that could step into kind of the bullseye and take all of the arrows and be the dynamic leader that Charlie Kirk was. Governor Tate Reeves with a strongly worded post on X at about 5:30 yesterday afternoon. I do not know that this was directly in response to my interview with Senator Hob Bryan, yesterday morning. But if it was not, it was quite the coincidence. I don't think Senator Bryan has done a lot of other media where he talks specifically and as directly about the things he discussed with us yesterday. Specifically, the administration of $1 billion and the distribution of $1 billion over the course of 5 years through the Rural Health Transformation Funds to the various places that are needed. If you missed it yesterday, Senator Bryan's chief complaint was that there should be transparency and openness in this process, and he alleged that the governor had been making deals in secret with people and organizations on how it was going to be spent. Tate Reeves fired back. Here it is. Why are Democrat Senator Hob Bryan the lieutenant governor and some other state legislators determined to shoot Mississippi in the foot because they'd rather stick it to the Republican governor and to President Trump than acknowledge they are jeopardizing over $1 billion to improve health care in rural communities across our state. Mississippi's Rural Health Transformation Program plan was developed in collaboration with the Mississippi State Department of Health, Department of Mental Health, and Medicaid, folks who have infinitely more knowledge about health care needs in rural communities than Democrat politicians in Jackson. The Rural Health Transformation Program was one of real Donald Trump's key initiatives. Our plan and detailed budget have already been approved by his administration, and it's subject to comprehensive federal competitive procurement, monitoring, and audit requirements. All awards will be made public. There's nothing more for politicians in our state to do on this. Forcing Senate Bill 2477 is such a bad idea that the Trump administration has already told Lieutenant Governor Hosemann the legislature should not pass it. Dr. Oz even told me, quote, any legislation that attempts to impede or restrict the procurement process will put Mississippi at serious risk of failing to obligate its funding on time. That's exactly what this obligation does. And oh, by the way, the FQHCs, I don't know what that acronym is, honestly. Some of the most important deliverers of health care in the Delta are also kneecapped by SB 2477. Governor goes on to say the fact is that there is an extremely narrow window for Mississippi to deploy this funding. The deadline is tight. We've already teed up a tremendous plan that will strengthen rural health care in our state. Why blow it up after all the hard work that has been done? All Mississippi has to do now is swing. I have lots of thoughts about this. Some are complete 100% thumbs up to what the governor said. But I've got some suggestions for the governor also. Rob Roberson's going to join us next. We will pick this story up a little bit later in this 7 o'clock hour. Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank. We're back with you right after this.
Just a hard way to go.
Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Welcome to the show.
Have mercy on me when it comes to crossing the good golly woman. That just scares the devil right out of me.
Welcome back. Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank, rooted in our community. This hour of the show brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you're not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services, plus a custom plan that fits you. Give them a call today, 601-206-7966, or go to MWGEmployerServices.com. All right, time for our first guest this morning. Rob Roberson of the Mississippi House of Representatives, chair of the House Education Committee, joins us this morning. He represents District 43, Oktibbeha, and Winston counties, and he, like all of his colleagues, headed back to Jackson a little bit later today. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Richard. How are you?
Doing well. I appreciate your time. So what are you boys and girls going to be doing at the Capitol when you get back today?
I think we're going to be doing a little bit of looking at the vetoes that were done, and there's potential for some action possibly on PBMs, but I don't know that there's a whole lot of details as to what the compromise would be or the situation on that one. But I'm hoping and praying that we're able to bring some type of conclusion to that issue that we were dealing with last session. I know that good people on both sides are dealing with this, and I really want that to be taken care of. I've got my own pharmacist here in Starkville is very concerned about it, and I know some business leaders around the community that are on the other side of the coin, and I really do hope that we're able to come up with a place that both can exist in that space and either be equally happy or be equally unhappy, whatever that takes to get us where we need to be.
Well, and that's the interesting thing about that is I feel like both sides agree that there is reform that is needed with the way PBMs, pharmacy benefit managers, operate, but the amount of reform or exactly the way you get from where we are today to the finish line, that's where the disagreement seems to exist between those two communities. Certainly small pharmacy owners want to go farther, perhaps, than the business community wants it to go.
I think that's a fair assessment. You know, the real issue in a lot of this stuff, my wife is a physical therapist. We own our own children's PT clinic. And one of the things that I've noticed is these issues in dealing with whether it be managed care or whether it be dealing with insurance carriers in general, this stuff gets so complicated. Mm-hmm. And I understand where they're both sides are dealing with. I mean, you've got private business that are trying to make certain that the employees have good coverage. They're able to get their medication. Just from my wife's standpoint, it takes her half a day to make sure she's getting paid what she's supposed to get paid. And if she makes a mistake, the money's taken back. And I'm an attorney, and if I have a hard time looking at this stuff, understanding what it's doing, I can't imagine what someone that's not an attorney looking at it's dealing with. So I completely understand where both sides are coming from.
You mentioned that take a look at vetoes. There were not a ton, but there were some from the governor, including something that we talked about yesterday extendedly with Senator Hobb Bryan. The governor has taken exception to that. There were some vetoes line item vetoes within the final spending bill. What is the appetite with the legislature for vetoing some of the governor's, for overriding the veto of some of the governor's thoughts?
You know, until I get there, I won't know for sure. I can tell you that we wouldn't have passed these laws if we hadn't have thought that it was the right thing to do. So the bottom line is that my knee jerk would be that a lot of people are going to strongly look at it. I have a tremendous amount of respect in the governor. I'd like to be able to kind of hear more about what his position is, you know, from him and find out where that's going and where his thoughts are. But I don't think that from a House and Senate side, whenever we pass these things, I feel pretty confident that we were pretty serious about it when we did it. So I don't want to overplay that too much, because the reality is that there may be something that's there that I'm not aware of.
Well, and it's interesting to me the way you said that, because we certainly recognize that the House and Senate under the dome at the Capitol in Mississippi don't agree on a lot of things. And so when you get to a point where the two sides do agree on something, it feels like that usually is fairly significant. And I'm not trying to be flippant when I say that about the House and Senate not agreeing, but obviously there's been a lot of back and forth between the two sides in the last couple of years.
Oh, absolutely. And in all honesty, I mean, that's kind of what you want from your government. I mean, it's supposed to be hard to pass things, and it's supposed to be difficult to deal with this. And as a House member, I always think that we're right. And I'm sure if I were in the Senate, if I were on that side, I would think we were right on the things that we get into it about. But the bottom line on any of these things is that it has to be some kind of meeting in the middle a lot of times, and I think sometimes egos have a tendency to get involved in it, and frankly, that happens at the executive branch as well.
Visiting with Chairman Rob Roberson of the House of Representatives, District 43. He's got parts of Oktibbeha and Winston counties, and I probably should know this. How much overlap is there between House education and House colleges and universities?
There's a little bit, especially if it has to deal with K through 12. Typically, I will sit down with the chairman of that's over those committees that deal with IHL, and we have conversations. One of the things that we talked about a few years ago was about the fact that we'd like to improve the training for teachers, and those are some of the types of things that we overlap on. Okay. As we are moving forward, we'll continue that. I mean, I want to say this. I said during last session, there was an awful lot of conversations about like there being this pull and push between school choice and public schools and things like that. And there is no one under that dome up there that's trying to harm public schools. It's amazing to me that we could put as much money as we're putting into schools under Republican leadership over the last few years, and anyone could think that we were trying to harm public schools. This is more of an approach that we're trying to give parents a little bit more say-so in what their kids' education looks like. And I wouldn't in a million years, I think the vast majority of our kids in our state are going to go to public schools. I believe that. I know that. There's no one trying to harm them, but the bottom line is that we've got to expect more. If we don't expect more, we're not going to get any more out of it. And I don't think there was anyone that would suggest that we shouldn't expect more from our K through 12. Now, I'm lucky. I live in a community that has a great school system. Oxford has a great school system. We're lucky. We have universities in our back door that help us make those happen. But the Delta doesn't have that prerogative, and there are other rural places in this state that don't. So we're going to have to continue pushing forward and letting parents have some type of say-so in how this looks.
All right, so, Mr. Chairman, where does the school choice conversation go from here? Because the Senate has been steadfast in its position. Universal school choice is not on the board as they see it. So if that is off the board, or maybe you don't look at it as that is completely off the board, maybe you look at it as, hey, we've got to continue the conversation and see if we can convert some people from a thinking standpoint. But if that is off the board, where can you continue to improve? Where can you continue to apply pressure and alleviate some of those concerns that you and your colleagues have?
I think the number one thing that and frankly, I wished we would have been able to do this at the same time we were talking about school choice, is talking about consolidation. We've got a lot of schools out there that are trying to operate
district
with 500
consolidation,
kids.
Right? Are we talking district consolidation or schools consolidation?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, some schools consolidations, but mainly district consolidations for starters. If you ask me what the main problem we have in our schools right now, it's going to be leadership. And it's going to be issues where you're trying to run a school with too few children. And you just can't do it. We've got some really fine teachers out there that are beating their heads against the wall trying to make certain they have resources, make certain that they can do things that they need to do. We had a peer committee do a research on some of the ways that school districts could save money. That study, when it was done, there wasn't a school district around, including my own and the best of the best out there, that couldn't have saved money. And that money, I'm not trying to take it and put it back into the state fund. I want it to be used for our kids.
Amen. Let's advance that conversation next year, because that's one that it feels to me like everybody can get on board with. I don't think everybody is on board with the idea of universal school choice. Obviously, they are not. I think we're out of time. I was going to throw one more thing at you, but out of time this morning. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your time. I hope we can get together again soon and talk more.
I love the music y'all are picking this morning. Some Charlie Pride, nothing wrong with that at all.
Absolutely. We'll talk again soon. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Quick time out. Let's get back to that post by the governor. And, oh, by the way, another sense in which he quote tweeted our interview from yesterday with Hob Bryan. We're back with you right after this.
The secret of a happy...
From the Seabrook.
This segment of Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Find out what's happening across your state. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Good to be with you this morning. It is Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm, SuperTalk TV, and of course on your SuperTalk Mississippi radio stations. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being with us. Appreciate the chairman Rob Roberson, a lot of stuff there. I mean, for months leading into this past legislative session, there was one single talking point. Over and 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 over, it was school choice, school choice. I'm good with fighting an uphill battle. Sometimes you have to fight a losing battle out of principle. But fighting the same battle over and over and over and over, if you don't make any progress without any appreciable results, it feels like a waste of time and a waste of taxpayers' money. So, if we all agree that there are things that we can do to continue to advance and grow and improve K through 12 education in Mississippi, and we know that universal school choice is not happening, where can we put our heads together and work between now and January of 2027 so that the legislature, maybe even both sides of the legislature, are marching to the beat of the same drum to do something meaningful for education. And district consolidation, to me, should be at the top of the list. Oh, Richard, you can't do that. You have different cultures within different schools in the same county. Nah, yeah, you can. You're going to cost people jobs. Sometimes that has to happen. Sometimes it has to happen. If I have two people that are doing the exact same thing, and one is more productive than the other, and I don't have a need for two people to do the exact same thing, I'm going to keep the one that's more productive. Or I'm going to keep the one that costs less, that's getting the job done. But one way or another, to use a word that the governor used yesterday, I don't need duplicative services. Now, in some cases, I'm going to need people from multiple districts within a county to stay on board together. And they're going to have to work together. C-Spire text line, let's consolidate Oxford School District. Well, Oxford School District is one school district. I think the point you're trying to make is that we should consolidate the Oxford separate school district and the Lafayette County school district. I think that's the point you're trying to make with some kind of a gotcha, but you don't really, to which I would say, okay, let's do it. The Oxford school district, in my mind, is one of the lights on a hill in terms of public education in Mississippi. Guess what? I think the same thing about the Lafayette County School District. I think it is one of the lights on the hill. Are there different philosophies? Are there different styles? Sure there are. We're not talking about consolidating schools. We're talking about consolidating districts. And so, yes, if DeSoto County can have one superintendent with multiple assistant superintendents to run its 6 to 8 huge schools within the county, Lafayette County can do that. Lee County can do that. Jackson County can do that. Greene County can do that. Wayne County can do it. But so can LaFleur and Coahoma and Neshoba. Okay. Thomas in Greenwood says start with consolidation to one district per county, then work to cut that in half. I was operating off the idea of one per county. If you wanted to say there are a couple of counties that because of population it doesn't make sense to have one, you can roll 2 or 3 together. I don't think it'd be crazy to think that you go into this with a goal of initially having 70 school districts in the state. That's fine. All right, we've got to get back to this. We've got to get back to this Tate Reeves message. I was reading something earlier that he posted last night where he was pushing back on the idea of Hob Bryan and the lieutenant governor and others saying that they should have the spending power and that they're more interested in sticking it to the Republican governor and to President Trump than acknowledging that they are jeopardizing over $1 billion to improve health care. So, at the danger of putting words in the mouths of two politicians, Hob Bryan's position was the governor is trying to spend $1 billion over the course of 5 years in secret through a bunch of secret meetings, and he's not involving the legislature, and there's no transparency, and the state of Mississippi should be able to see what's going on here, i.e. the legislature should decide where the money goes. Okay? Hey, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Somebody says, I figured that you would change the subject when confronted with facts. We'll come back to it. But I'm actually going to run the order of the show, and I kind of went off to your message and gave it some time that I didn't have time to do right this second. So don't be that guy. Just chill for a second. Governor Reeves' position is the money for the rural health care transformation out of the One Big Beautiful Bill is allocated in a very specific way, and it can only be spent on certain things, and it has to be spent in a timely manner. It has to be allocated in a timely manner. The presidential administration has to approve the way that it is being spent, or we run the risk of losing that money, and it is my job as the executive to put together a plan for how that money should be spent. And I've done that through meetings. So the governor has since followed up. He quote tweeted or quote posted the interview, or at least a clip from the interview that I had yesterday with Senator Bryan. And here's what the governor said. Same song, different verse, but it is still false. In 2019, it was Democrat Jim Hood. In 2023, it was Democrat Brandon Presley. And in 2026, it's liberal Democrat Hob Bryan. And those secret meetings he is talking about, yes, I admit it. I have had many meetings with the Mississippi Department of Health, the Mississippi Department of Mental Health, the Division of Medicaid, physicians, hospitals serving 75% of the Medicaid population, FQHCs. Thank you, by the way, for those of you who said those are federal health care
qualified.
Yeah. Anyway. And believe it or not, I even admit that I had a secret meeting, quotes, with Democrat Senator Bryan and Senator Boyd and Senator Hobson. The truth of the matter for me, I don't really care who holds the purse strings on this. I know that there are people, the people that have the potential to distribute the money, because distributing money is power. Make no mistake about it. And so if the legislature has the ability to distribute the money, that gives them the power over this program. If the governor has it, he has the power over this program. Maybe they don't care about that. I don't care whether it's the executive or the legislative that ultimately spends this. I tend to think that it probably is the job of the governor to decide where this money goes. It's the governor's office that has put together this proposal that has worked with the entities within the state. So the secret meetings that Hob Bryan talked about, here is my advice to Governor Tate Reeves and to his staff. And by the way, this is worth what you pay for it. It's fine. It's fine. Communicate with the state of Mississippi. So Hob Bryan can get on here and he can talk about all of these secret meetings, and it should be the role, and why is the governor trying to do this, and why is he trying to hide $200 million and $1 billion over. Governor Reeves isn't trying to hide that money. But he is going through the process of making sure that we have the ability to get all of the money from the feds and it gets to all of the places. But here's the thing. I had no idea that's how the process was going. I'm pretty plugged in on this stuff. I don't catch everything, but most of it. Do you think that the average citizen in Calhoun City or Shibuya or Winona or Canton or Biloxi knows exactly how this process is going? I think the governor and his office owes some transparency to the state of Mississippi to say, no, we're not doing this in secret, but we're not going to air every single meeting we have for the public. Here's what we're doing, and here is why.
From the White House to your hometown, this is where you find out what's happening. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
I was a dam builder across a river deep and wide, where steel and water did collide. A place called Boulder on the wild Colorado. I slipped and fell into the wet concrete below.
I feel like we've got a first-time listener this morning who doesn't understand the way that we have had a conversation about school choice and public education K through 12 for the last better part of 16 months. So if you want to come at me with I've got an elitist attitude because I live in Oxford and I don't understand the issue, and then you're in the wrong place. You're just looking to pick a fight. If you want to have a conversation like we've been doing, again, for a year and a half about this particular issue, how we make public schools better in Mississippi, I'm all for it. Feel free to engage. But when you come out with me, well, you have an elitist attitude, because just stop. What you have is an agenda for what you want, and you don't care about any other opinions because you think your opinion is right, and you have no tolerance or time for any conversation to the contrary. So if you want to back off your high horse and have a conversation, I am more than happy to. I think you will find many who are ardent school choice supporters would tell you that I've given a lot of oxygen to that side of the conversation. But not if you come at the name-calling thing. I'm just going to ignore you or block you or whatever. Maybe you're a new listener, and if you are, we're glad to have you on board. That's just not how we operate around here. In the same way that it's not how we operate with regard to Tate Reeves is the best governor in the history of Mississippi, and there's no conversation otherwise. Or Tate Reeves is a bum, and I hate him, and I wish he was out of office right now. No. We're not doing the opposite. Like, it's not polarization. It's not one or the other. There are things that Hob Bryan said yesterday, the senator over public health, that I agree with, including the state of Mississippi, the citizens of the state of Mississippi, the voters of the state of Mississippi have the right to know what is going with regard to the distribution of this money that Mississippi is eligible for through the One Big Beautiful Bill that could be up to $1 billion over the course of the next 5 years. The decisions shouldn't be made in a dark, smoke-filled room, which is kind of the way that Hob Bryan painted that yesterday. Well, the governor's off here having a bunch of secret meetings. We don't know where the money's going. Nobody knows where it's going. Is it going to go to the places that it needs to go? Those are reasonable questions. The governor, whose office has put together the plan that they have gotten approved through the Trump administration to make sure that they are dotting I's and crossing T's, I think he's got every right in the world to do that, to put this together. But I said this a second ago, and this would be for the governor and his staff. I think the governor owes the state a little more transparency. Not because he's doing anything wrong at all. You can't broadcast every meeting and give an update on every single meeting that takes place. But as opposed to an ex post that one is combative and two is antagonistic and three is general. For example, I'm a Republican. I'm for less government. I'm not for spending your money on golf courses. Well, what are you talking about? Specifically, in the spending bill from the legislature, what golf course was getting money? What was the purpose? Why are you against it? I'm not for giving your money away to any entity that has wasted millions on lawyer. What is the entity? We don't have to be ambiguous here. Like, just right down the middle, just tell us what you're talking about. But that's not a great way to do it, because sometimes that raises the dander of certain groups. Like, put a name on it. But here's what I mean when I say the governor needs to communicate better. We, as Mississippians, don't need every detail from every meeting. But I think a very clear message, and maybe you say, look, Richard, the information's out there, you got to dig for it a little bit. I don't think that's a good communication strategy, because we consume information in little bitty bites on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, hopefully some on the radio. So how can we give it to people quickly where they understand and we influence to help them understand that this is good? It's a message like this. Hey, just a quick update. The state of Mississippi is eligible for $1 billion from the federal government thanks to the One Big Beautiful Bill as part of the Rural Transformation Healthcare System. This is a complicated process. It's typical D.C. There are a lot of I's to dot and there are a lot of T's to cross. I'm working through this with the State Department of Health, with all of the stakeholders in this process, with the legislature, but it makes most sense for the governor to direct where these funds go. I'll give you more updates as we have them. This is a time-sensitive issue. Just communicate that. And I think people will be receptive to it if they understand who you're talking to, why you're talking to them, and why it is that the executive branch is the branch that needs to administer these funds. 8 o'clock hour on the way. Back right after this.
Your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Well, preacher man talking on TV, cutting down my rock and roll. He wants me to send a donation, so he's worried about my soul. Now Jesus walked on the water, Lord, you know I believe that's true. But sometimes I think Jimmy Swagger, I'm gonna do a little walking too.
Good to be with you on this Wednesday morning. One of those days where we have less time than we have content. We got a lot to get to this morning, including a conversation in just a moment with one of our friends from the coast. First, though, I'll tell you that Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you every day by Community Bank. At Community Bank, we're here for every part of your financial journey. Looking to manage your personal finances? Our banking services make it simple, secure, and tailored to you. Ready to grow your business? We offer expert guidance and custom solutions to help your business thrive. Dreaming of a new home? Our mortgage specialists are here to make the process seamless, all designed with you in mind. We're more than just a bank. We're your partner for life's biggest moments. Community Bank, rooted in our community. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Paige Roberts is president and CEO of the Jackson County Chamber of Commerce, and she is an opinion column contributor with the SuperTalk Mississippi news team. Paige, good morning. Good to see you again.
Good morning. Good to see you, Richard.
You have on a shirt that says Hope. Tell us a little bit more about Hope Squad. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, I have my superhero Hope Squad shirt on because I am advocating vehemently for an override in the legislature of a line item veto the governor did of funding through the opioid settlement for this program. This program is a suicide prevention program that uses a peer-to-peer methodology, and we have it in 5 of the 6 South Mississippi counties. It's in more than 2,000 schools across the country, and we know it works.
So the governor in that line item veto suggested that Hope Squad with two other organizations were allocated money through the opioid settlement fund, but that these three entities did not go through the proper vetting process, that they did not adhere to all of the same standards that the other organizations that received money through this program, and those three in particular were vetoed. Why you're shaking your head as I say that? Why is that?
Because we did comply. Hope Squad submitted its application on time. It received an email, which I have a copy of, from the Attorney General's office acknowledging the receipt of that application. And in any system run by humans, something happened, an error between the Attorney General's office receiving it and it not getting to the review committee. And when we realized this, I brought it to the attention of both the House members and the senators who were championing this program for us after the past 2 years of efforts. And that is why the legislators then worked on getting some money, because they knew it was a legitimate program. They had Hope Squad members up there last legislative session. One of the young ladies even spoke to the senators from the well and received a standing ovation. WLOX has done a documentary called Hope in the Hallways, which you can Google. Just this weekend, it won first place by the Mississippi Broadcasting Association for special reports. So that is why the legislators were trying to correct just an error that happens in first-time systems.
So was there communication between because there was an opioid, I may not have the right terminology, but there was an advisory council that was put together. They had meetings that were public meetings. Along the way, we discussed those. They talked about reviewing all of the applications. When did you or the people with Hope Squad learn that that application did not make it to the committee for the full vetting process?
Not until I saw the scores of what was, or the scores or the report on what was reviewed. And it's my understanding the Gulf Coast Nonviolence Center application was kicked out for some sort of grammatical error, and they were never told.
Has the Attorney General's office confirmed? I mean, you talked about the receipt. Has there been a public confirmation that, hey, this was submitted, it was submitted properly, and somewhere along the way something happened?
Yes. That is what Representatives Sam Creekmore and Kevin Felcher did, that background work after we discovered the issue.
Okay. Have you or anyone with Hope Squad heard from the governor's office any further details from their perspective on why this should be kicked out, or have you reached out?
No, I have reached out instead to all of our champions on each side from each chamber to see what could be done. Quite frankly, one of them said they'd never really heard of a governor unvetoing a veto. So we figured our best option was to make sure that the legislators had an appetite to go back in to reconvene, and in doing so, then they would have the opportunity to override the veto. And quite frankly, that's been my mission, as well as all of the Hope Squad advocates down here. I mean, Richard, this is a program that was in some schools originally funded by Ingalls Shipbuilding, Mississippi Power, Chevron Refinery, Merchants and Marine Bank, and Navigator Credit Union, as well as Singing River Health System Foundation. This is, as I said, in all of these schools down here, and there are parents calling worried about the possibility of the program going away.
And certainly for those that have put so much time and effort into it, that would be tragic when this money is available for distribution. What feedback have you gotten from the legislature? Obviously, they are gaveling back in today at 1:00. The assumption is that they are going to discuss some of the vetoes that the governor has made on bills that made it to his desk and were either vetoed or line item vetoed. What have you heard from members of the legislature that you're talking to? Are you hopeful, or are you optimistic that this is that this particular line item veto will be overridden?
I am cautiously optimistic, and as always with the theme of Hope Squad, I do have hope. And it's because we know that when young people search for answers or feelings of acceptance at the bottom of a pill bottle, we know that doesn't work. But we know programs like Hope Squad work. I just received an email from a Hope Squad advisor at Pass Christian High School 2 days ago. Her own son killed himself 12 years ago. And she said she's been the Hope Squad advisor for this school year at Pass Christian High after they had lost 3 students to suicide over the past 2 years. They have saved 2 lives this school year through the Hope Squad efforts.
So this is not just anecdotal. This is concrete evidence, or at least the way that it's been presented, that this is a program that is working and is making a difference.
Yes, and while I applaud always efforts by our state leaders to protect the integrity of any program that funding is going to, whether it's BP oil spill, opioid settlement of private lawsuit money, or whether it's taxpayer money, either way, I applaud those efforts. But I think that making a point or putting your stake in the ground on legalism of issues that are just hard. It's hard to understand why you would err on the side of a system and not err on the side of humanity. Always choose humanity.
The governor did say in that line item veto that he welcomed these organizations to reapply again next year. That money will be allocated again in the event that the legislature does not override this particular line item veto. Can Hope Squad hang on for another year and reapply a year from now?
In some schools, yes, and in other schools, no. In the schools we have in Jackson County, as I mentioned, those private industry donors did a 4-year setting for Hope Squad. But Hancock County schools and Stone County schools had funding we raised only for 1 year. Okay. And so those are the 2 districts that would be in peril for a year. Not to mention the 50 new school districts that we would have been able to bring on board. We don't have time to waste, Richard.
Sure. Paige, I appreciate your time this morning. We'll certainly be keeping an eye on this issue and wish you all the best. Always good to catch up.
Yes, thank you.
Paige Roberts, President and CEO of the Jackson County Chamber of Commerce, an advocate for Hope Squad. We're back with you right after this.
From the Venable.
Good morning, everybody. Time to wake up.
Time to shine!
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
But when I close my eyes late at night, you can bet I thank my maker. She keeps on loving me, loves me the way I am. She's not just along for the ride, she's my biggest fan.
Best way for you to connect with us, to be part of the conversation, is on the C Spire text line. You can do that at 601-879-4395. With C Spire, it's easier than ever to get all the devices you want in one move with the Ultimate Connect bundle. Right now, new and current customers can get a free phone, watch, and tablet, plus 100 gigs of data for just $90 a month. That includes the new iPhone 17 and the Samsung Galaxy S26 for free, and a free smartwatch and a tablet. So don't wait, there's more to see. Visit cspire.com or stop by your local C Spire store today. Certainly an offer worth learning more about. The C Spire text line has been popping this morning, and some combination of Lance and I think, have responded to most of your messages. If we have missed you, we apologize. There's a lot coming in. We're talking about a bunch of different things right now. The legislature is coming back into session today, as was predicted by the lieutenant governor when he said to his body on Sine Die Day back on April the 5th, I think it was, that we'll probably see you again soon, unless the lieutenant governor and the Speaker of House had agreed together that there was no need to reconvene. Today was going to be the day. And today is the day. 1 o'clock is when the Senate and the House are scheduled to gavel back into session to take care of outstanding issues. And some of those outstanding issues include examining some of the vetoes by the governor on bills that were sent to his desk. In some cases, the legislature may choose not to address a particular veto, and that issue will come to an end. There also is the opportunity, should the legislature choose to exercise their power, to override the governor's veto on a particular issue, whether it's an entire bill or a line item within a bill. So we're going to see how that plays out today, and we'll see how long the legislature is in. I appreciate Paige Roberts coming on and joining us and giving us the perspective from Hope Squad about their legislative funding request, what that organization has done, and what the future will look like for them with or without the funding that the legislature approved through the opioid settlement fund. And by the way, this is money that is there for allocation. It's part of the opioid lawsuit settlement, money that has been allocated to the state of Mississippi. And if you've been following along, you know that this is something that we've talked about. You had the opioid settlement committee that was put together to put a process in for distribution of this money. And then their second step after putting together that process was to solicit applications for the money, to review those applications, and then ultimately to make the determination to the determination and the recommendation to the legislature on where those funds should go. There were 3 line items within the settlement funds available for this year that totaled about $1.5 million that the governor line item vetoed, and his rationale was that these programs were not vetted properly. They did not go through the entirety of the process in the way that they were supposed to. Paige told us that there was some sort of a human error, a clerical error, because Hope Squad received confirmation from the Attorney General's office of receipt of their application to be included in the distribution of funds from the opioid settlement. However, it did not make it to the committee for the full vetting and the process that went to allocating that money. Once they realized that there was not a score, because they had a scoring system for all of the proposals, once they realized that, once Hope Squad realized that there was not a score posted for their organization within the recommendations to the legislature from the opioid settlement committee, they began reaching out to legislators. That's when they discovered that somehow their application had not gotten from the Attorney General's office to the committee for vetting and examination and potential allocation of funds. The legislature then, in its process of deciding where the funds ultimately would go, decided that there should be an allocation to Hope Squad on the coast. And that is what the governor vetoed. It was a line item veto within the distribution of those funds. So we're going to see what the legislature does with that today. We did get news last night officially. Told you this was coming because the invitation announcement was out there last week that former Speaker of the House Philip Gunn is officially running as a candidate for governor of Mississippi for the 2027 election. He was speaking at a campaign event at the Clinton Visitors Center yesterday, launching his gubernatorial run by laying out an agenda that was heavy on economic development, social issues, and education, but also with a vision to make the Magnolia State attractive to young people where they will stay, work, and raise a family. A crowd of about 100 or so, reportedly, was there for this announcement. Former Speaker Gunn said, "My vision is founded on my love and passion for Mississippi." On the economic development front, Gunn said that he would work with the legislature to reduce the tax burden on both Mississippians and businesses, including reducing property taxes and reducing grocery taxes. Gunn said, quote, "Citizens should not have to pay taxes when putting food on the table," close quote. If elected, former Speaker Gunn says that he would be open to, or would be working to continue attracting businesses to Mississippi. Not just any business, he said, though, but businesses with healthy paying jobs. If a lot of what Philip Gunn said sounds similar to what Governor Reeves has proposed and has been doing as governor, I don't think that should come as a surprise. Philip Gunn spent a dozen years as Speaker of the House, the first ever Republican elected as Speaker of the House. And his time as Speaker of the House coincided with Governor Reeves as the President of the Senate, the Lieutenant Governor at the time. And though those two did not see eye to eye on every issue that came across their desks, they did have I think it's fair to say, a solid working relationship. I've been told this is accurate, that there was a weekly meeting between the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker of House when the two bodies were in session, in which they discussed the issues that were on the table. They talked about their differences. They talked about the things that they agreed with, and they had a pretty steady and open working relationship in the time when those two were leading those two particular bodies. The governor's race, the primary, is going to be crowded. We know that. Right now, you have Andy Gibson confirmed as a candidate for governor. He did that months and months ago. You now have former Speaker of the House Philip Gunn as a candidate. And then there are a number of potential candidates that people are talking about, looking at, considering, waiting for an announcement. Probably the four additional names that have been talked about the most are Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann. We've asked him directly, are you going to run for governor? And he has said that he is not at a point where he has made a decision on that yet. Paraphrasing, but that's basically what he has said. I have asked directly State Auditor Shad White if he is going to run for governor, and he has consistently said that he is looking at all of the options that are on the table and will make that decision when the time is right. I have asked directly Attorney General Lynn Fitch whether or not she is going to run for governor, that her name has been out there. I think the last time I asked General Fitch that question was probably a year, maybe a little over a year ago. And her answer was that she was focused on the job that she had right now as Attorney General of the state of Mississippi. And that is solely where her focus was at the time. Lynn Fitch, within political circles, is expected to run for governor. And then there is Columbia businessman Tommy Duff, who has been talked about extensively. He launched what was called Duff PAC a year ago. There have been numerous allocations from Duff Pack that have been made, especially in local races across the state of Mississippi. That's the wild card in all of this. He is the wild card in all of this. When will that decision come? When will a public announcement be made? And will it just be, hey, I'm running for governor, or will it be in terms of putting some resources into a potential campaign? We're back with you right after this.
From the Seabrook.
Start your day right.
Good morning, America. How are you?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Mama's gonna wash all away. She thinks mercy's overrated.
Glad to be with you on this Wednesday morning, middle of the week. Today is April 15th, 2026. The C Spire text line is open at 601-879-4395. So much happening at C Spire. Be sure to check out their website, cspire.com, or visit the local C Spire store in your area, including that Ultimate Connect bundle where you get a device and a tablet and a smartwatch and 100 gigs of data a month for just $90. There's more to see at cspire.com. A lot of messages on the C Spire text line. I'm going to try and get to as many of them as we can. Just curious, will Tate not come on and give updates about the state's business? Quite the contrary. The governor has been generous with his time. Normally, when we have the governor on, he spends the better part of an hour with us, usually a couple of times a year, or at least that's been my experience in the time that I've been in this chair. I will tell you this without divulging too much. When I saw Governor Reeves' post yesterday on X about, I was kind of making an assumption that his post was about the conversation that we had yesterday with Senator Hobb Bryan. I think that assumption was proved to be true when he later followed up with a quote tweet showing the video, or a video clip from that interview that we had yesterday, and kind of following up with some comments on that. I reached out myself directly to the governor's staff yesterday to see if he was interested or available to come on this morning to talk more about his thoughts, specifically with how the money for the Rural Hospital Transformation Fund, Rural Healthcare Transformation Program was going to work, and why he was handling it the way that he was. It's my understanding that the governor was interested and willing to come on, but was unavailable because of his travel schedule. He had been out of town. I was told that he was working on an economic development project, and that was traveling back to Mississippi this morning while we were on the air, and so he was unable to come on. So no, the governor has not ducked this program at all. And I think that I have a healthy working relationship with both the governor and his office, his staff. When I have had specific questions about issues and have reached out and passed those along, not always immediately, but in a fairly timely manner, I have always gotten a response from people within his office, whether it was from him. I don't want to divulge too much, but there was a specific question that I had back in January of this year about some of the things that were happening within his office and some legislation, and got a response that said, hey, do you have time to jump on a call with the governor and let him kind of explain, and was able to do that. So I am very grateful for the responsiveness and the openness that both Governor Reeves and his staff have had with me and with us and with this show, and ultimately with you kind of through Mornings with Richard Cross. So this was a scheduling issue today. I did think it would be a timely conversation. And it is going to be interesting to see what it looks like in the legislature today and tomorrow for however long they are back in session before they ultimately sine die for good for this legislative session. Where the legislature accepts the vetoes that were handed down by the governor, whether it be full bills or line item, and where they push back and possibly vote to override a veto. We haven't had a lot of that during Tate Reeves' time as governor. There have not been a lot of overrides. Some, I think, but not a lot. As it pertains to how I feel about the job that the governor has done, one, I don't know if that, like, what my feelings are specifically really matter. But I'll tell you, I think Tate Reeves has done an exceptional job on the whole as governor of Mississippi. He is into his 7th year in the office. He's in his 23rd year of elected service within Mississippi. He has never lost an election. 8 years as the treasurer, 8 years as the lieutenant governor, and now into his 2nd term as governor. I do not agree with everything that the governor says. I don't agree with everything that the governor does. I don't agree always with the way that he communicates, whether it's publicly or through social media. But that's okay. We don't see everything exactly the same politically. Just like you probably don't see everything exactly the same politically with Tate Reeves. But I do think that the record specifically of economic development, but on generally conservative issues for the state of Mississippi, the record that Governor Reeves has comprised, not just in his time in the state's highest office, but in his 23 years of elected public service, it stands on its own. It speaks for itself. It has been a success by any possible way you measure it from a conservative / Republican agenda standpoint. Period. Jim and Ripley says if Tate Reeves is anything, he is the consummate professional. Jim, that's your opinion? I don't think at all that the governor is unprofessional. Sometimes the social media stuff, I don't exactly agree with the tone or the way some things are presented. But again, that's his prerogative, and the record speaks for itself. C-Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Thomas in Greenwood says he never really understood the Tate hate. And one of the things that you saw in the social media post, I guess the first one yesterday from the governor, was kind of a shot at people who don't like the big bad Republican governor. You saw that in the second line of his post where he said, "Why are Democrat Senator Hob Bryan, the lieutenant governor, and some other state legislators determined to shoot Mississippi in the foot?" And his next line is, "Because they'd rather stick it to the Republican governor and to President Trump than acknowledge they are jeopardizing over $1 billion to improve health care in rural communities across our state." We got a message earlier that said, don't think Hob Bryan would have a problem with the governor's office spending this money if the governor were a Democrat. I do not know Senator Bryan well enough to speak for him or on his behalf. Don't know him well enough to do that. Wouldn't be my place even if I did. I'm not sure that I agree with that assessment. I think through my interaction with him, Hob Bryan tends to say what he thinks and stand by his beliefs regardless of who is in opposition to them. That's just my experience, though, with him. We were talking about candidates for governor in 2027 just a moment ago, and we got a message on the C Spire text line. Is the other Barber family members not interested in state politics, such as governor? Says Henry is older, but Austin is prime age and has the national politics background. Good dude, was with him at Ole Miss. Both Henry and Austin, who I'm thankful to know both of them fairly well, good people, think a lot of both of them. They both work in the lobbying space. Obviously, Haley did. Governor Barber did prior to coming back to Mississippi. But I have not gotten the sense from either of them that public office is what they are seeking or interested in. Jim sends us a picture. He says, "Oh no, Richard doesn't totally agree with me. I'm hurt." You shouldn't be, Jim, because that's how we're going to operate around here. We can agree to disagree. Derek in Greenwood, Governor Reeves has done an overall good job, but he is like a prosperity preacher. Here's how we do all things to bring in money, but doesn't really care about the poor communities. Keep pushing the top up while neglecting the bottom. I actually think that speaks directly opposite to the message that Tate Reeves has espoused over and over and over in his time as governor. His goal has been to raise the living wage for working people in Mississippi across the board, especially those who are poor right now. Because a more prosperous Mississippi from the bottom all the way to the top is a better Mississippi from the bottom to the top.
From the morning.
Good morning to you there.
Okay, up and at 'em.
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
She turned up her nose as she walked by my Cadillac. From the corner of my eye, I saw you and you laughed. You were sitting on the swing on your front porch, painting your nails like you were bored. And you yelled she was sure impressed with you. Well, I ain't first class, but I ain't quite trash and wild.
Last time with you on this Wednesday morning. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming online at supertalk.fm. I would encourage you, if you don't have the SuperTalk Mississippi app on your phone, grab it. It costs you nothing. Zip, zero, zilch, nada. Free. And we all like free stuff. And if you miss anything on SuperTalk Mississippi, whether it's Mornings with Richard Cross, Middays with Gerard Gibbert, Good Things with Rebecca Turner, Sports Talk Mississippi with the boys in the afternoon, any of the podcasts, you can always go back and get it, and you can listen at your convenience on demand. You can also get all of our shows wherever you get your podcasts. So even if you don't have the SuperTalk app, you can download those through, well, whatever podcast apparatus you use.
Hey, man, I was going to say, we have come a long way today since Duck, Duck, Goose this morning. And if you want to hear about the Duck, Duck, Goose, it will be ready to go here in about 45 minutes. So.
Beautiful. Yes, beautiful. We're not talking about the sit in a circle and run around game either. Pretty cool experience for me last night.
And remind them, it is on the Richard Cross Twitter feed, X, if you want to see the video out there. It was really cool.
There you go. Richard Cross STM. Got a couple of X accounts that you can follow for content. Got a message from a sitting legislator earlier in the show today that said you can expect the Mississippi Department of Revenue to make an announcement today that it, too, is extending the tax deadline. We do not have that officially from the Department of Revenue here in Mississippi yet. Yesterday, we got an announcement from the IRS that because of Winter Storm Fern, the tax deadline for all IRS filings for Mississippians has been extended to June 8th. The extended deadline applies to a wide range of filings, including individual income tax returns, quarterly payroll tax returns, and certain business filings. Taxpayers will not face penalties as long as payments are made by the June 8th deadline. Again, I was told by a legislator that you can expect a similar announcement from the Mississippi Department of Revenue today. So be on the lookout for that. Do not, please do not just take my word for it. You need to see that notice from the Mississippi Department of Revenue, but I am told that that is coming and will be announced in just a bit. C-Spire text line, I know this is quite a bit, but a great show today, guys. Keep up the good fight. Mississippi is a better place because of you and getting things that are relative to us simple, hardworking Mississippians on the air and heard. Thank you so very much for that kind message. We covered some ground this morning, and it's been fun. Or at least it's been fun for me.
I love it. Anytime you go, like, don't take my word for it, I always think of the Tommy Boy clip. You can get a good look at a T-bone by sticking my head up a butt. Hey, don't take my word for it.
Wouldn't you rather trust me?
Oh.
I'm just saying, when it comes to paying your taxes, make sure that the Department of Revenue says it's okay to wait until June 8th. Don't just... you see, Richard said it first, no tax filings until June 8th. I am not in a position to help you pay any penalties or late fees in the event that announcement does not happen, but be on the lookout for that today. Somebody says, is that for federal too? Yes, it is officially for federal income taxes. The IRS announced yesterday in a news release that individuals and businesses impacted by the January storm, considered to be the state's worst winter weather event in more than 3 decades, now have until January 8th to file returns and make payments originally due between January 23rd and June 8th. The standard deadline for taxpayers to file each year is April 15th. This year, for Mississippians, that deadline is now June 8th. I actually got a call from my accountant last night. He sent me a message. He said, can you talk? Sure, call me. Uh-oh. He's like, please tell me that you have not sent in quarterly estimates yet. I'm like, come on, man. Do I ever do anything on time? He was like, good. He's like, because we've got until June 8th now. I said, great. Outstanding. So keep an eye on that from the Mississippi Department of Revenue. It's official from the feds. Wait and see on the state. If you missed any of the show, go back and grab it on demand, supertalk.fm, or as a podcast. Lance will have the clips up in a little while as well. We will re-rack it and be back with you in 21 hours, just after 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Thank you to Lance Tolbert, the one and only. I'm Richard Cross. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a wonderful Wednesday.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.